I think a good way to learn the digestive tract is to think of it as one big tracing problem. So imagine a molecule of something that you can't digest, such as fiber, called cellulose. It's going to end up going all the way from mouth to anus without ever being absorbed. So let's imagine we follow a molecule of cellulose through the GI tract. Not pictured here, but first we would be in the oral cavity, and then we would be in the oropharynx, that's the part of your throat that's behind the oral cavity. Then we would be in the laryngopharynx, and then finally, as shown here on this diagram, we would be in the esophagus, which is numbered 1. Then we would go through a sphincter right there near number 4, called the cardiac or esophageal sphincter. And then we would be in the stomach itself. That would be number 3. And then number 5, we would go through a sphincter called the pyloric sphincter, and we would end up in the first part of the small intestine called the duodenum or duodenum. At the duodenum, we would have a lot of chemical enzymes sprayed onto the food. And then number 7, which would extend all the way basically to where number 8 is, would be the second part of the small intestine called the jejunum. That's where most chemical digestion would take place. And then we would be in the ileum, number 9, and that is where most absorption takes place, absorption of nutrients. The ileum would extend all the way to number 10, which would be a sphincter or valve called the ileocecal valve. At that point, we would be in the large intestine. The very first place we'd be in the large intestine is a pouch called the cecum. Then we would go up number 11, which is the ascending colon, and then across the transverse colon, which is not numbered, and then down the descending colon, and then into the sigmoid colon, and finally the rectum and anus.